Hi YouTube, just wanted to do another quick update. Today I am 6 weeks and 2 days. As far as symptoms, still a little occasional burping here and there. Yawning has picked up in the afternoon. Usually about 3:30, 3:45, 4 o'clock I have started yawning. By the time I get home from work at about 5 o'clock, I have that urge to just fall asleep and take a nap. So the tiredness and exhaustion has definitely kicked in. Of course, you know, I do have other children and I have to cook dinner and that type of thing, so it's not like I can just go to sleep like I want to. So what I've been trying to do is, you know, get home, rest for a few minutes, you know, just kind of sit, talk to my husband, maybe watch a little TV, and then get up, you know, cook, and then go lay down early. I've been averaging about 9:30 at night for the last maybe week or so, a week and a half. If I, you know, I usually take my progesterone at about 9 o'clock, and usually by 9:30 it has kicked in and I'm just exhausted. One night or so I was able to stay up a little bit later, but it was not pretty. When I woke up in the morning, I just felt like I hadn't gotten any sleep at all. Like last night, for instance, I went to bed at 9:30. Last time I looked at the clock, it was 9:30, and then I was just gone. And I got up for work, well, for good, I got up just before 7. The problem is my husband has to be up at really, just like his alarm goes off at 4:45. So when his alarm goes off, it always wakes me up. Well then, for some odd reason, before I got pregnant, if his alarm woke me up, I would wake up for 2 hot seconds, then I'd go right back to sleep as soon as he shut his alarm off. Nowadays, when his alarm wakes me up, I am up, and I have a really hard time getting back to sleep. So like this morning, his alarm went off at 4:45. When I finally drifted back off, it was almost 6:30. I was really upset because then I felt like I lost almost an hour of sleep, because by then, you know, I've got to start getting up to get ready to go to work, and, you know, I've lost an hour. So I, of course, was exhausted. And then I went outside, and evidently somebody decided it was a good idea to break into my car in our driveway, and they only stole a couple of dollars, so it wasn't like a major issue, but I was just really upset. I'm like, you know, we live in a relatively safe neighborhood, and that's the only thing they took, from what I could tell. So I'm thinking it might have been kids, like teenagers, you know, and I've seen in other parts of town where they've had that problem where teenagers have taken some stuff. You know, I'm thankful they didn't take anything else, but I was just a little annoyed, if anything, because of course I called the police, and the police said it would be a while before they could get there, and of course I couldn't wait because I had to go to work. So I ended up, you know, a few minutes late for work trying to wait on them, and that just didn't go well. I mean, you know, of course it was okay. I did call my boss and let her know, hey, I'm so sorry, I'm going to be a few minutes late, and I was only like 4 minutes late. So it was just one of those mornings. So, you know, lately here, I feel like I can't get enough sleep. So even going to bed at 9:30 and getting up at almost 7, I am still exhausted. You know, you would think that would be enough sleep. Evidently, it is just not. So, you know, once before when I was pregnant, I was having to do the whole let me take a nap after work thing. And the problem with taking naps after work is that if I take the nap, and I sleep for like, you know, 2 or 3 hours, which is typically what I would take when I took a nap. The problem with that is then when I get back up and have to, you know, go to sleep for real later, I couldn't get to sleep because I had already taken a nap. So I was trying not to do the whole nap thing, but when I tell you I am exhausted, I am just exhausted. So, you know, that's pretty much the newest symptom. It's gotten really bad, and I noticed it got really bad like about a week ago. A little breast tenderness every now and then, some cramping every now and then, nothing too major. You know, a little what I call the uterine ligament pain. Round ligament pain. I do get that from time to time, especially, you know, if I've been sitting down for a while and then I stand up. Oh, it's horrible. I'm trying to think what else. Not a whole lot of other symptoms. Like I said, you know, occasional burping, that's about it. Other than that, not a whole lot has been added to the list, we'll put it that way. I did go and I found a Doppler online the other night. Someone was selling one on Craigslist in a nearby city. So I did go and pick that up. Of course, you know, here I am at 6 weeks deciding, oh, let me see if I can see the baby's heart, hear the baby's heartbeat. Of course not. But, it was good practice to see how to work it. It was kind of neat. So I did play with it for a little bit. Of course, I didn't hear anything but my own heartbeat, and I could hear, I guess they say it's some sort of artery that's in the uterus. It's some main artery there. I could hear that. Certainly I've seen folks on YouTube that have found it as early as 7 weeks, 7.5, 8. So I was like, well, I'm 6 weeks, give it a little time, and I should be able to hear it. And it was a good little investment. Definitely once I'm able to hear the baby's heartbeat, I really enjoy having that at home. Peace of mind to be able to hear, make sure the baby's all right. I have my next ultrasound, because I've had one. I have my next one next Tuesday, which today is Thursday, so I've only got a couple more days, and I'm really hoping that we're able to see something. I will be exactly 7 weeks by LMP, but by actual, I'll really only be like 6 weeks and 3 days when we go. So we may or may not see anything. I know last time when I was pregnant and I went at 6 weeks and 3 days actual time, by what I call adjusted due date, we were able to see the baby and the heartbeat, and they were able to measure the baby. The baby was measuring 6 weeks even though I was 6 weeks and like 3 or 4 days. The interesting thing back then is that when I had that ultrasound, my HCG level at that point was only like 4,300. I will say at this point, my HCG level, I think when I did the calculation the other day, I want to say at this point, it roughly should be about 20,000, a little more. At 19 DPO, it was 1976. So if you do the doubling every 48 hours, I think the day of my ultrasound, I did the math, and my HCG level should be at like 180,000, I believe. 186,000 is what it would be if it continued to double every day. Now, I do know that after you get a certain point, it slows down on the doubling. So you might say, well, it probably won't be that high. And it may not be. But the interesting thing about that is mine wasn't doubling anyhow. It was actually tripling. So I'm wondering, it may still be like 180,000. And I don't know that my doctor is going to do an HCG count. I doubt it. When I go, he'll probably do the ultrasound. As long as the ultrasound is good, he'll move on from there. But I'm really, like I said, even if, let's say it wasn't 180,000, let's say it was 100, because it would definitely be at least 100,000. We're talking well beyond what it was when I had the ultrasound with the last pregnancy, the one where we saw the baby's heartbeat. So I am pretty sure that if we could see something at 4,300, we'll definitely see something at the rate I am now. So, I'm pretty sure we'll be okay there. When I looked at the ultrasound they did the other day, I only saw one sac. Although I did see a spot that looked like it might have been a second sac, but I'm not real sure, because where it was at was next to where the fibroid was. And my whole thing was, well, I think that's just like a part of the fibroid. Whatever is going on with the fibroid, I think that's what that is. And of course my husband was like, well, I really do hope that that's not a second sac. Not because we wouldn't be thrilled with twins, because we would, but because that was the problem last time, is the baby's sac was right next to the fibroid, and they said that's why the baby didn't survive, because the fibroid was, causing problems. So I'm really hoping for that benefit, that it's not a second sac and there's a baby right there and might cause problems. Then again, you never know. It could be a second sac and that baby would be just fine. I don't know. But that would be the only concern I would have. But looking at the ultrasound, I do think we just have one, unless they're identical and they're in the same sac. And, identical, in our family, we do have a few sets of identical twins. Most of them are fraternal. We have several sets of fraternal twins. I know on my side, I think on my mother's side of the family, there are like maybe six sets of twins. I think one set was identical and the rest were all fraternal, I believe. And on the father's side, my father's side, there's none. On the baby, my husband's side, on the baby's father's side, there are, I think he told me 3 sets of twins, I believe, 3 sets of twins. And some folks say, oh, well, the fact that they're on the father's side doesn't matter. I don't quite agree with that. You know, and I hear folks say that all the time, oh, well, it only counts if it's on the mother's side. Like I said, I don't quite agree with that. I do think that some genes are a little more predisposed. Sorry, I can't even say the word. Disposed. There we go. For gene splitting, you know, as far as identical, I do think that some men, their sperm is a little more likely to cause that egg to split, you know, and that's just my personal belief. You know, I could be totally wrong, but that's just like when I hear people say, oh, the only way a baby can get blue eyes is if, you know, the father or the mother has blue eyes and then, you know, the other parent has the recessive. I have met many people where the parents, one of the parents, no one in the family has blue eyes. No one in the family is a descendant of anyone with blue eyes. And baby still comes out with bright blue eyes. So, you know, anything is possible when you're dealing with genetics. And as a science teacher, you know, while we do teach our kids the little Punnett square and it goes by this and this is a percentage rate, it is not an exact science. And so, you know, I try very hard to always remember that anything is possible and that things do happen. So, you know, my husband still thinks it's twins. Like I said, because I only saw one sac, I don't necessarily think it's twins anymore. I did at first think like he might have been right, especially with how bad the symptoms were right away. But, you know, they've tapered off some, so I do think it's just one at this point. You know, certainly we'd be happy with two. We'd be happy with one, either way. You know, so we'll see. Like I said, we have that ultrasound coming up on Tuesday, which is in a couple more days. You know, just getting through the weekend, the excitement of waiting. You know, I do think that everything is going okay with this baby. I don't foresee us having any problems. I've not really felt like there are any problems or any, I guess, like warning signs that there's a problem. So I think we're going to be just fine. You know, I'm not real nervous about it. I'm trying to be positive and, you know, take things one day at a time. Of course, you know, folks at work, most of the folks that I work with, they know I'm pregnant, especially people that I talk to. And, you know, they're all really excited. You know, every day they ask me, how am I feeling? How's this going? How's that going? I've not told my students, and I probably won't unless one of them asks me, until I absolutely have to. You know, I'm not due until May, so I've got quite a bit of time. School lets out here in June. So, you know, it's one of those things where you know, I won't bring it up because I don't want the kids, I guess, asking 8 million tons of questions, if that makes sense. So, you know, I probably won't mention it to them unless one of them asks, until I absolutely have to. You know, to me, I'm starting to show already. Obviously, this is my 5th pregnancy, so, you know, my stomach, well, my area doesn't have to stretch as far. And some, of course, you know, I was already a plus size chick, so, you know, bloating does not work well for me. It just makes me look larger anyhow. And I think that maybe some of the kids either, you know, think I'm pregnant, they've just not said anything, or maybe they just think I'm fat. I'm not really sure. Some of the clothes I wear, like the shirt I had on today, definitely makes me look pregnant because of the way it's made. Even though, believe it or not, it's not a maternity shirt. You know, I don't know if you can get a picture. There we go. In the screenshot. Sorry, I'm driving, so I can't make it so long. But because of the way this splits in the front, you know, you could, it kind of made me look more pregnant, we'll put it that way, in this shirt. But other than that, you know, I don't think the kids have, you know, really said a whole lot to one another about it. You know, and it's not like I'm hiding it. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm married, I'm grown, so it's no big deal. But like I said, I just didn't want 8 million questions that I had to answer that, you know, perhaps parents might not be comfortable with the kids even asking, but you know how little kids are. So we'll see. But that was kind of it. And this video ended up being a little bit longer than I wanted to. You know, but I did want to just give a quick update. And I will talk to you all again soon.